Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to welcome you to today's presentation. Today, we'll be exploring a beautiful poem called Dust of Snow. We'll look at its themes, imagery, and what makes it so meaningful. Over the next few slides, I'll guide you through the poem's message and significance. Let's get started. Now, moving on to slide 2, let's look at the content outline for our presentation. We start with the author's introduction, which gives us some background on the poet and helps us understand the context of the poem. Then, we'll explore difficult words. These are key to fully grasping the poem's meaning. Next, we'll dive into a critical analysis, where we examine themes, tone, and stylistic devices used by the poet. After that, we'll discuss symbolism, understanding how objects or images in the poem carry deeper meanings. Following that, we'll look at literary devices or figures of speech, which add richness and layers to the poem's message. Then, we'll do a summary to tie everything together. We also have a section on Dust of Snow, which is the poem itself, so we can analyze its language and imagery. Finally, we'll wrap up with the end, marking the conclusion of our presentation. Throughout, remember how each point connects to our overall theme of understanding poetic techniques and their impact. Today, I want to introduce you to Robert Lee Frost, an influential American poet born on March 26, 1874, and who sadly passed away on January 29, 1963. Frost's work initially gained recognition abroad, with publishing happening first in England before it made its way to America. He's best known for his realistic portrayals of rural life, especially in New England, which allowed him to delve into both authentic and philosophical themes through his poetry. What makes Frost particularly remarkable is that he's the only poet to have received 4 Pulitzer Prizes for poetry, a testament to his enduring impact. In 1960, he was honored with the Congressional Gold Medal for his poetic contributions. Just a year later, in 1961, he was named the Poet Laureate of Vermont. And interestingly, Frost was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Literature an incredible 31 times, showing just how highly regarded he was worldwide. All these achievements tie back to our overall theme of exploring poetic excellence and the profound influence of rural life in American poetry. So, on this slide, I want to talk about a moment in my day that I had really rued or regretted. But interestingly, I managed to save some part of that day, a small spark of hope or change. Sometimes, a shift in our mood can completely alter how we see things, and that's what happened here. That change of mood actually gave my heart a fresh perspective. Now, the imagery here is quite powerful. It's about a hemlock tree, which might seem bleak or poisonous, but from that tree, the dust of snow fell down on me. And this snow, as simple as it sounds, symbolizes a kind of cleansing or renewal. It's like a reminder that even in dark or difficult moments, something as gentle as snow can come and shift our outlook. And then there's the mention of a crow, often seen as a symbol of mystery or change, shaking down the dust of snow on me. It's a vivid image, showing how unexpected moments in nature can influence our mood and perception. Overall, this slide emphasizes how small, seemingly insignificant events, like snow falling or a crow passing by, can have a profound impact on us, helping us see things differently and perhaps even turning a bad day around. It ties back to our theme of finding hope and renewal in everyday moments. Now, let's look at some difficult words that can sometimes cause confusion. First, we have the word to regret or to repent, which means to feel bad about something that has been done. It's a feeling of wishing you could change the past. This is important because understanding emotions like regret helps us communicate better about personal experiences. Next, we have the word rued, which is the past tense of to rue. It's a formal way of saying someone regrets something. For example, he rued his decision, meaning he wished he had made a different choice. Moving on, the slide mentions a poisonous tree and hemlock. Hemlock is a specific type of poisonous plant, famously associated with the death of Socrates. The phrase, a poisonous tree, can be a metaphor for something harmful or dangerous growing out of control. Understanding these terms helps us grasp both literal and figurative language used in literature and conversation. Finally, we have the word shook, which is the past tense of shake. This word describes the action of moving something back and forth or trembling, often indicating emotion or physical movement. For example, she shook the bottle, or he shook with fear. Recognizing these words and their meanings helps us improve our vocabulary and better understand context. So, in summary, these words, regret, rude, poisonous trees like hemlock and shook, are all part of the rich language we use to express feelings, describe dangerous things, and depict actions. Mastering them will enhance both your comprehension and your ability to communicate effectively. This slide highlights the essence of the poem, which is surprisingly simple yet deeply meaningful. It shows how a brief moment can reveal a profound understanding of both nature and human nature. The poet, having a tough day and feeling down, finds himself standing under a hemlock tree in winter. Out of nowhere, a crow sitting on the branches shakes some snow onto him. That little act, that unexpected splash of snow, actually lifts his spirits. It's fascinating how such a small gesture can change his mood so quickly. Suddenly, he feels hopeful, optimistic, and ready to face whatever comes next. This moment teaches us that even in our darkest times, nature, through simple acts, can inspire positivity and renewal. It reminds us that sometimes a small, unexpected gesture can make a big difference, helping us shift our perspective and approach life with a fresh, open mind. This ties into our larger theme of how nature and simple moments can have a powerful impact on our inner state. Let's take a closer look at the structure and key points of the poem. First, notice the rhyme scheme. It's a bab, CD, which gives the poem a rhythmic and harmonious flow. This pattern helps emphasize the contrast between the two stanzas. The entire poem is crafted as a single sentence broken into 8 lines, which creates a sense of continuity and unity throughout the piece. The poem is divided into 2 distinct parts. The first stanza describes the setting, the falling snow and the peaceful environment. It sets a calm mood and shows how nature interacts with the poet, almost like a gentle visitor. The second stanza shifts focus to the poet's emotional state, mentioning a day he rued or regretted, and how that day was transformed by a simple, yet profound, change in mood. This change is symbolized by the dust of snow falling on him from a crow perched on a hemlock tree. The snow's impact, although small, has the power to lift his spirits and alter his outlook, highlighting the theme that small moments or changes in nature can significantly influence our emotions. Overall, the poem beautifully illustrates how nature's small, seemingly insignificant moments can have a powerful effect on our mental state, reinforcing the idea that perspective and mood are often influenced by simple, everyday occurrences. It's indeed fascinating and a bit ironic how negative images like a crow, dust, snow, or a hemlock tree can serve as catalysts for positive change. For example, they can influence our mood or even instill a sense of hope. This highlights the idea of positivity amidst negativity, showing us that even the most seemingly bleak circumstances can lead to something good. Sometimes it's the small acts that create the biggest impact. Small changes in our surroundings, acts of charity, or gestures of goodwill may seem minor, but they can travel far and influence many others. These small acts have a ripple effect, demonstrating how powerful kindness and positive actions can be. Nature itself has an incredible healing power. No other force matches its ability to restore and rejuvenate. Throughout history, humans have turned to nature to find cures for ailments, comfort in tough times, and inspiration for renewal. When we immerse ourselves in nature, we often find solutions to our problems, sometimes when we least expect them. There's a mysterious, almost silent miracle that occurs in this communication between humans and the natural world, creating a relationship that heals and revitalizes us. Finally, this poem touches on several themes that are worth exploring. These themes help us understand the deeper messages about hope, resilience, and the profound connection we share with nature, reminding us of the importance of appreciating even the smallest acts and the natural world around us. Now let's look at some key literary devices we see in poetry. First, there's the change of word order, which is quite common in poems. Poets often invert the usual sentence structure to create a certain rhythm or emphasis. This technique is called inversion, and it helps add rhyme and beauty to the lines. You'll notice it frequently in poetry to make lines more musical or impactful. Next, we have enjambment, which is when a sentence continues from one line into the next without a pause. For example, this poem uses enjambment throughout, as it's essentially a single sentence spanning multiple lines. This flow can create a feeling of movement or continuity, pulling the reader smoothly from one line to the next. Lastly, there's alliteration, the repetition of the same sound in neighboring or nearby words. For instance, in the phrase, "and saved some part," the C sound is repeated, which adds a melodic quality to the poem. Alliteration can enhance mood, emphasize certain ideas, or simply make the poem more pleasurable to read aloud. So these devices, word order inversion, enjambment, and alliteration, are powerful tools poets use to craft beauty, rhythm, and emphasis in their work. Now let's look at some of the powerful symbols Frost uses to evoke a sense of negativity and the darker aspects of life. First, the hemlock tree. Because hemlock is poisonous, it naturally symbolizes death, danger, and toxicity. It serves as a stark reminder of mortality and the destructive forces in life. Moving on, dust is another potent symbol. Dust is unwanted, often associated with neglect and decay, but it also represents death and the cyclical nature of life. When we think of the phrase "from dust to dust," it emphasizes that life is transient, and ultimately everything returns to dust, highlighting the inevitable end we all face. All these images, poisonous trees and dust, set a perfect scene for all things gone wrong. Frost uses these symbols to underscore the looming negativity in the poet's mind. But interestingly, he also suggests that negativity isn't just about despair. It can act as a catalyst, pushing us toward reflection, resilience, and even hope. Then there's snow, which symbolizes the end of growth, kind of like a freeze on progress. In both traditional and modern media, deep snow often signifies hardships and death, representing a period of dormancy or struggle. Finally, we have the crow, a bird that's commonly linked with negativity and evil. In many literary works, the crow is seen as a messenger of death or bad news, reinforcing the theme of darkness and foreboding. So, in essence, Frost's use of these symbols isn't just to evoke gloom, but to show how confronting negativity can lead to deeper understanding and perhaps renewal.